Hey everybody, welcome to History University. My name is Tom and I will be your educator for this video. Next week, Ubisoft is releasing Assassin's Creed Valhalla, which is a highly anticipated Viking installment to the Assassin's Creed franchise. To add to the hype train, I wanted to make a video about the Viking Berserkers. Today we're going to take a look at what the Berserkers were and to what extent did they actually exist in the Viking Age. Without further ado, let's jump right in. In English today, the word berserker means out of control with anger or excitement, wild or frenzied. If we trace back the origins of the word, we will see that it translates to bare coat or bare shirt in Old Norse. A berserker would have been someone who wears a coat made of bare skin. The berserkers were elite fighters who were said to have fought in a trance-like fury. When they unleashed their rage, they were said to have went into berserker gang. When the berserkers tapped into their berserker gang fury, they performed tasks that were seen as impossible by human power. Berserker gang would occur during warfare as well as other laborious tasks. Now among these berserkers, there appears to be three factions: the bear, the wolf, and the boar. The bear faction was said to have been devoted to a bear cult, which was a widespread type of cult in the northern hemisphere during the Viking Age. Despite their fighting prowess, these berserkers were said to have followed religious observances. The body of the dead berserkers was said to have been laid out in bearskins before their funeral rites. This bear warrior symbolism still survives today in a form of a bearskin cap, which is worn by the guards of the Danish monarch. The second faction of berserker is known as the Ulfhednar. Instead of devoting their entire beliefs to the bear, they were more focused on the wolf. This faction has been described as Odin's special warriors. They were described as fighting without their armor and considered as mad as hounds. They supposedly bit other people's shields, they slew men, and fire and iron seemed to have no effect on them whatsoever. The third and last type of berserker was known as the Swineflokin, which means boar's snout in Old Norse. These men were at the head of the Viking formation, which was known as the boar's head. The front of the formation was shaped in a way that it resembled a boar's snout. Members of this faction were known as being the masters of disguise, and they also had an intimate knowledge of the landscape. This explains why they were responsible for leading the charge. The foundation of their martial arts was based off of the brute strength of the boar. Now that we broke down the three types of berserkers, let's take a look at the evidence of their existence. There does appear to be a lot of contemporary writings and art about the berserkers, which speculates many to believe that they actually existed. But there is also a group of people who believe that the berserkers have been heavily mythologized and hyped up to be something that they probably were not. The first mention of the berserkers comes from a late 9th century poem by Thorbjorn Hornclothy, where he describes wolf-skinned warriors grouped together in combat. In this poem, it appears that he is describing the Ulfhednar. Then, in the 1200s, Snorri Sturluson writes, "Odin's men rushed forward without armor, were as mad as dogs or wolves, bit their shields, and were strong as bears or oxen, and killed people at a blow, but neither fire nor iron upon them." This was called Berserker Gang. It is believed that Sturluson was exaggerating the details, but was truthful on some level about the Ulfhednar and their service to Odin. The Berserkers were speculated to be more than just warriors, as many Scandinavian kings, most notably King Harald Fairhair, hired Berserkers to work as royal guards. Which makes sense when we look at how the Danish royal guard today still dons bearskin caps, showing a connection between royal guards and the berserkers. It is also likely that berserkers appeared in religious rituals for cults revolved around certain animals. This is another explanation as to why they're dressing up in animal pelts so frequently. In 1015, Jarl Eirikr of Norway outlawed berserkers. The Grey Goose Laws, also known as Gragas, was a medieval Icelandic law code that declared berserker warriors as outlaws. By the 12th century, we start to see organized berserker warbands starting to disappear. Now, what exactly caused the berserkers to be so aggressive? Some scholars propose that the berserker rage is tied to the consumption of hallucinogenic mushrooms or massive amounts of alcohol. I personally believe in the theory because drugs and alcohol have always played a role in warfare. The samurais often drank sake before going into battle. World War I was known for the excessive amount of drunks in the trenches. The Germans during World War II were fed methamphetamine, and certain Americans in Vietnam were hooked on heroin. Psychiatrist Jonathan Shea proposes an alternative theory. He makes an explicit connection between the Berserker rage and the hyperarousal of post-traumatic stress disorder. He basically claims that these Berserkers were traumatically impacted by war, and are virtually forever on edge because of what they have seen. Therefore, they were always one step away from bursting out in a fit of rage. The other theories involve hysteria, epilepsy, mental illness, or a genetic factor. Because of the unique nature of the Berserkers, they are prone to be exaggerated in media. Over time, there has been some artistic liberties in their media portrayal. The way I look at it is, they were probably men who wore outfits inspired by animal pelts in the Viking Age. They were worn during religious and war settings. I believe that the Berserker gang fury comes from alcohol or drugs, since both of these have played a role in warfare throughout time and cultures. Right now, there is no solid conclusion, but there is enough evidence for most people to be convinced that Berserkers played a role in Viking society. Before I let you go, I want to shout out Samuel Kim Music. He is responsible for the main theme in this video. It's the rendition of the Assassin's Creed theme, Ezio's Family. I think this song is fabulous. The Assassin's Creed games have featured this song in multiple installments, but I don't think that this upcoming game will. And if they do, they should have used Samuel Kim's version, because it is so kick-ass. He gave me permission to use this wonderful song, and if you want to listen to more of his stuff, I'm going to leave the links down below in my bio. I am so glad that a Viking version of this song exists, because it's a perfect crossover between Skyrim and Assassin's Creed. I have already pre-ordered Valhalla, so when the game comes out, I intend on streaming it. If you guys want to see some gameplay, be sure to check out my channel for some upcoming videos. I'm expecting this to be a really fun game, so I'll show you some content and give you some opinions before you guys decide to buy it yourself. Alright, that's all for this video. Thank you for watching, like and subscribe if you can, and most importantly, have a good day.